Yeah.
For listening to the AC Wildcats podcast, I'm your host, Michael Luke. All right, we have got a lot to get through the show. I am back in Tucson, which means I got to see Scheer. I also have my Inner Circle hat. Very excited, very excited. Hello, Jason Scheer. How are you?
I miss you, Michael. I'm glad you're back.
It feels very good to be back. I am back. All right, now we're going to talk. We'll talk about my venture to the homeland, to the mecca of Del Taco. But I think people want to talk about a little bit of Arizona football at first. Scheer, was awesome being there. The one thing that I think that we can definitely put aside any notions of is that this coaching staff is here to collect a paycheck. This is between Dwayne Akina, between Dino Babers, obviously Brent Brennan. This is a staff that is 1,000% in. And I know that I think a lot of people were probably wondering, where's Dino Babers at with, everything. Dino Babers is ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I mean this staff works its butt off. They're very serious. They're all ready to roll. I mean the assistants are really fun to watch. The way practice is set up, you can get pretty close to some of the drills, and it'll vary what assistant you watch. But these guys are super focused, and they're out here to win. They know there's a lot of pressure on them.
There's a lot of pressure on him, and I thought let's start with Babers first. Babers has been running a lot of different offensive schemes, a lot of different things. You're getting tight ends in the slot. You're basically trying to get everybody in there in the best way possible, and you can just tell that he knows that he's got a lot of toys at his disposal, and he's going to use all those toys.
Yeah, look, I don't know what Babers is going to run in actual games when it comes time to it, but I know that the one thing or one of the things that has really surprised me this camp is this offense is very multiple. I mean, There's things that we have not seen an Arizona offense do in a long, long time. And it's not like, okay, we're going to be a spread team, or all right, we're going to be run heavy. No, there's a lot of different looks that Babers has drawn up with the rest of his coaches.
Okay, now let's get to the guys up front that need to protect Noah Fafita. Obviously, Wendell Moy has been out, Leif Magnuson has been out, but there are four guys obviously on this line that we've talked about pretty much all year that have been that you kind of know what to expect. Leif, Jonah, Wendell, and Josh Baker. But it does look like they feel fairly comfortable with Big Rhino at that left tackle. And if Big Rhino can be good at that left tackle, Scheer, I think we're looking at a massive question mark added for this U of A team.
Yeah, I think Rhino's the guy. I don't think there's any question about it. He's going to be the opening game starter. I mean, he's taken all the reps at once. They haven't even moved it around like they have some other positions with the injuries. I'm not even sure who would be second in that conversation. It is very clearly Rhino at tackle.
It's Rhino at tackle. So there again, you have basically your five guys, and that where we're going with this is that if I know that I've got those five guys, then it becomes a little less pressing. You still wish that you probably had a little bit more depth. I get all of that. But right now, Rhino is that dude. And honestly, Rhino was somebody when he came into camp out of Bishop Alamany, there was a lot of expectations for Rhino. I mean, you got to remember, he came in with the same class that had Ephesians Prysock and Kevin Green. And this was somebody that previous coaching staff thought very highly of his outside potential, Jason Scheer.
Yeah, I'm just reading. Cartman went at you a little bit for your boy Justin. Where do you calm down? Yeah, Rhino is I mean, Rhino had high potential. The last coaching staff liked him quite a bit. He has a really good frame, and he's played well. I mean, he just and I don't know how much of that is he's played well versus the guys around him just aren't better than him. Right. I think that's part of it, but it's not like you're sitting there going like, man, Arizona's screwed at tackle. He's looked good enough to be the starter.
Right. Now let's talk a little bit about Leif. Leif's been out. Leif's probably going to be out for a little bit. Nothing like with a leg injury or anything like that. Wendell Moy. Wendell Moy looks fine. He looks good to go. He's not playing for whatever reason. Do you care to speculate on this one, Scheer?
There was a lower leg situation he had in the offseason. I think it's just being careful. I mean, he's dressing out. He's doing the individual drills. He's just not doing team stuff. I'm not concerned. If it was that big of a deal, he wouldn't be out there. He'd be doing, the side training and all that, which he's not. I just think it's a matter of, being careful.
Yes, it's a matter of being careful, and we will find out. We'll find out what exactly all that means. Now, the unit that is next to the offensive line that I think we got to talk about a lot. There's a lot of stud tight ends on this team. There really are. And it's weird. It's kind of a perfect marriage in that you've got in Brent Brennan, a guy that wants to use the tight ends. And by the way, I've got 4 really good ones.
The tight ends are wild. I mean, and what's very cool about them is that they're all different, right? Like Miranda's a really big dude. He's probably the best blocker of the bunch. He can still catch the ball. Sam Olsen is probably the most versatile in terms of receiving. They've used him in a variety of ways. Tyler Powell is very solid. Dorian Thomas might be the most athletic. It's a good group, and you are going to see, without giving too much away, Mike, people should get ready to see multiple different looks with 2 tight ends on the field at once.
All right, now Kean Burnett.
Oh, yeah, him too. I forgot him. So it's really not 4. It's all of them could play.
Let's talk Kean Burnett here for a minute. Listen, out of all the players, all these guys are monsters. Kean Burnett, though, this is the first time that I think you've looked at him and said, that's the kid that you saw coming out of high school. And something that I think we got to keep an eye or remind about Kean is that with Kean, he never had a position coach. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, well, his father played in the NFL. His father was a defensive lineman. His father was, or a linebacker, excuse me. His father, obviously, and he mentioned this point, he's like, he just kind of got by off raw talent in high school. Look at him now. He's made some huge catches. He is going to be a big part of what Arizona's doing going forward here.
Yeah, a lot of times in high school with basketball and football, there's guys that are highly rated, and you realize that part of the reason why they did so well is they were just better than everyone, right?
Yes.
Like they were just bigger, stronger, all that. And then you get to college, and some of those advantages go away. And it's taken Burnett a little slower, but bar none, this is the best camp that he's had at Arizona. He had a play today where it was a sack where Monty blipped the quarterback, but had it not been called a sack, he made a diving or jumping catch like over the body of Marquise Groves-Killebrew, which was awesome. I envy Dino Babers, but at the same time, I don't. I don't know how they get these dudes on the field. Like, it's a great problem to have, but I can make a very good case for playing all 5 of these tight ends.
Well, I think it's also a good situation, though, because listen, we've got 5 offensive linemen. We're going to go ahead and assume that Rhino's good, or that I'll put it to you like this: that Rhino is at least passable. How about that? Passable. Get it? Pardon the pun. But so we're going to go ahead and assume that. So if I'm running a lot of 2 tight end sets, then I know for a fact that I'm going to be able to have guys in there blocking. I'm going to be able to have people in there doing a lot of different things. I think that's where this is super exciting, Scheer, is that, yes, listen, if the offensive line isn't super deep, it's definitely buoyed by a position at the tight end that can definitely help out.
Yeah. And I think the thing is, like, Roberto Miranda is very clearly a good blocker. And Olsen's a good blocker. There's ways around it. We've seen fullbacks used in certain formations. This coaching staff isn't dumb, right? Like there's ways around, if the offensive line doesn't show up one game, it's not the end of the world. There's ways around it. But I still think the offensive line isn't awful. It's just right now it's not healthy, and it's kind of they're rotating a lot to figure out the best mix of guys.
All right, now we've got to talk about somebody. Listen, I'll be honest with everybody out there. Every now and then I'm wrong. I know that it's rare. But with I was very sad when Kevin Green left. I thought that Kevin Green was going to be a nice little player for Arizona. Jed Fish currently, I believe, has him going 3rd right now at 3rd string. Jed, but Jeremiah Patterson, a two-star kid, a junior college kid out of San Mateo Junior College. Scheer, he's been electric. He's one of the 3 best wide receivers on this entire roster.
I asked Bobby Wade about him, and Bobby Wade said, like, on the film, he was awesome. On the phone, he was awesome. And he's like, I went to go see him play, and when I saw him in person, I knew it right away. He's like, it was an easy offer once I saw him in person. And he's like, you guys haven't even seen what this kid's going to be capable of. He is, when you look at him, Mike, and I'm not making a comparison that he's this good, but when you look at him and he's wearing the same number, he looks like Cowan.
That's why I don't want to go that far, but I almost.
But you know what I mean? Like, visibly, like if you walked into practice and thought Jacob Cowan was still in Arizona, you'd be like, oh, that's like he wears the same number. He's super fast. He's a punt returner. To me, he's one of the top 3 receivers. I don't think he starts for reasons that you're not happy about and people can figure out, but I think he's going to play quite a bit. Bobby Wade said again, I think the number is 6. I think we're going to see 6 wide receivers.
All right. Now, I think the suddenness is also something that the thing with Jacob Cowing that was so amazing to me was not necessarily even the 4.3 speed, although let's be honest, that was really good to have. It was his suddenness. Our good friend Tony Gimino, who you actually like, would always talk about his burst from standing to 10 yards. And his acceleration was absolutely insane. There's a lot of that with Jeremiah Patterson. There really is.
The funnest part of practice is watching the one-on-ones because there isn't one defensive back, and I want to see Takario do it eventually. But there isn't one defensive back that has been able to stop Patterson. Poor Devin Dunn today was the victim. He just annihilated Dunn. Yeah. Goss the other day, he just completely beat on a route. And it's the suddenness, like his cutting ability where he fakes in and then cuts out or whatever. But like, it's been unstoppable. And I don't want people to think this kid's going to go out and get like 1,300 yards this season or anything like that. But
you're not saying it won't happen.
He's legit. Like it's a thing. He's absolutely a thing. And I don't think this is just a camp superstar like we've seen before. This kid's legitimately good. He's already won the punt return competition. It's a done deal. They're going to find ways to use him.
All right, let's talk a little bit then about the wide receiver. Irish Mike in here, the great Irish Mike. Many people think that I'm Irish. They're wrong. I am not Irish. But I don't care if Patterson starts, but early indications are he should probably get the second most targets. I say silly you. I would still go Malachi Riley, but that leads me to something else. Montana Lamonius Craig. Okay. Here's where it is. I would love to be part of the Montana Lamonius Craig my bad movement. So far, not really seen much in camp so far, Scheer.
No, not really. He had a decent day today, but he's not. To me, he's like a possession receiver, right? You need 6-7 yards. I'm cool throwing it to him. You need the deep ball. There's other options, right? And he's not. I don't think he's awful. It's just that when I'm doing my list of wide receivers on Arizona. Right now,
he's down the list.
5th, right? Like I'd probably put Malachi, Patterson, T-Mac. Who am I missing?
Well, I can't say it, but our guy AJ Jones had a nice
day. He had a nice day. Today was his best day of practice by far. Ray Mello's been good.
Ray Mello's better than MLC in my opinion.
Hyatt has been really good this camp.
Yes. So, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. That also, let's see, Murphy. Yeah. Gringo Billy. Yes. Raymello Murphy. He's good. What's also very intriguing about Raymello Murphy to me is that, and I didn't really see this being the case, given his height, they like moving him around a lot. They like having him in the slot. They like having him on the outside. They're doing a lot of different stuff with him. They're not just using him as a stationary, just slot player there, Scheer.
Raymello?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only receiver moving around consistently. And he said today, Bobby Wade said, look, I have receivers. I don't have outside receivers on slot. And Wade said if a guy obviously is an outside, he'll stick to the outside. But Raymello was started on the outside. Now he's running in the slot. They're going to use him in a bunch of different ways. And he's probably one of the few receivers they can do that with.
All right, now let's talk a little bit then about the running back. This position is, and Alonzo Carter made this point. Could be wrong. You and Alonzo are BFFs, so I don't want to speak for your BFF. But I don't know that he would trade his running back room for about anybody in the Big 12. He loves his running back room.
I can tell you for a fact that he wouldn't trade his running back room for any team. And it's not bull with him. If you know Alonzo Carter, he does not BS his players or anyone. He absolutely thinks that they have the best running back room in the Big 12. And I realize that there's guys like Devin Neal and Ollie Gordon and all that, but he's talking room from top to bottom. They have 4 backs, 5 backs that they can absolutely use.
Yes, I'm very, very excited. Listen, let's just be honest here. This offense should be awesome.
Yeah. The only concern I would have about the offense would be the O-line. And healthy, the O-line should be fine.
And again, just to reiterate before we get to the defense, it is a big factor here that you do have. If you're going to play 2 tight end sets a lot of the time, you are going to be able to help out in that regard. You're not going to be leaving Noah just out there standing twiddling in the wind.
Yeah, look at you.
Twiddle in the wind? Is that a term? Twiddling
in the wind.
Oh yeah, whatever the term may be. All right, yes, we will talk about Kevin WN. We will talk about the Dion article. We will also talk a little bit about ASU as well. Chris Cartman taking a little backhanded remark at me. Chris, I responded with a heart and I said I can't wait to watch. All right, now the running back room though. Quali Conley. Listen, we've talked a lot on this show about Fam and Ja'Cory Crosskey-Merritt. Quali Conley has to get its own little part. The reason that I always figured that he would be good is generally you don't go, no matter what school you are, as long as you're not playing it like, I don't know, Arizona. What's the other, Arizona?
Wow, Arizona State. You could say it. Arizona State.
Yeah, as long as you're not. Yeah, that's a good one. As long as you're not playing at Arizona State, yes, that's where But Quali Conley rushed for over 2,000 yards the last 2 years, almost 7.5 yards per pop. I mean, guys like that, they don't just. You're generally good if you have those kind of numbers, especially if you're on a decent team.
And look, in practice, Quali Conley, the running backs were okay today. There was a lot of passing today, but the previous 2 practices, Quali Conley had 2 65-yard touchdowns.
Right.
He is much quicker to the hole than I thought it'd be. He's probably the best pass catcher of the bunch. He's good. Like, he is legitimately good. You can make a case that he's been the best running back in camp so far.
Yeah, so he's going to, again, he and Ja'Cory Crosskey-Merritt. Now, let's talk a little bit about Fam. Fam had they're definitely trying to figure out ways to use Fam. Obviously, Fam is being used a lot as the kick returner. I get that. A lot of screen passes. They definitely want to be able to get Fam out there.
Yeah, I'm really curious about how they handle that because he's probably the number 1 kick returner. Yesterday, they practiced screen passes, and he was by far the best in handling screens against the blitz. It's probably going to be a game plan thing, right? Like, it's probably going to be like, look, this team that we're facing is an aggressive blitzing team. Fam, you're getting a lot of touches today, right? The week after, it's going to be there a lot of base defense, all that. Maybe this week isn't for you. Whether or not that adds up to the 4 or 5 games to redshirt, we'll see.
You know what's so funny about this? By the way, Joseph, the great Joseph, says with a strong O-line, we can stick Mike in the backfield and he'd scoop for a run. I think you're underestimating me. I wouldn't even need a strong line. One thing, though, that is interesting, though, about this running back unit is that they are putting the correct height and weight. If you look at Fam, if you look at our guy, Rayshon Speedy Luke, he is significantly bigger than he has ever been at any time here. And when I say significantly bigger, somehow he lost 6 pounds, though, Jason Scheer. How did this occur?
Yeah, that weight thing is so good. Like, all the weights are different. Noah lost 6 pounds. Speedy lost weight. Keanu Miloto lost like 30 pounds.
Right.
I respect Brennan for not lying on the weights, but everyone else does. So he might as well have done it also.
You know, one place that doesn't lie, though?
What,
Sanderson Ford.
Yes.
Here's the deal. Big 12 Bobby has already said who are today's sponsors. We have a litany of them, but let's talk with Sanderson. Let's talk about Sanderson Ford. First of all, it's very, very popular. Anybody up in the valley knows about Sanderson Ford. It is the creme de la creme of everything. And the cool thing about this year, I didn't even know about this. There is a restaurant on site called the Starliner Diner. Here's the deal. if you are at a car dealership and they have a diner, you know you are in a big, very good spot. Sanderson Ford is family owned and operated through 3 generations. Here's the deal. And they're pushing for the playoffs, and you get playoffs like the 24 Ford Broncos Sport Big Bend, just ranked highest in quality in its segment by JD Power. Here's the deal. Plus 0% financing for 36 months with no payments for 90 days on a Ford F-150 Escape, Edge, Explorer, and Expedition. Again, you might say, Mike, tell me a little bit more. I will tell you more. The Sanderson Ford Summer Sales Event is here, and you're teaming up with the big boys of summer for a final playoff push. Again, check it out. All kinds of really good stuff with Sanderson Ford. That is the great thing. And purchase or lease any new Ford and get 4 tickets for your family to see the D-backs push for the playoffs. Sanderson Ford, my friends. And you might say, Mike, Sanderson Ford is so cool. What could make it even cooler than that? Shady Rays.
Oh, yeah.
Shady Rays. Now, when I was in Tahoe, I saw a lot of cool people. I was not one of them. I was not looking in the mirror this time. But Shady Rays is where it's at. Scheer, we've seen people with Shady Rays.
I don't know if you know this, but before you came, I was talking to Jeff Bowe, the SID, about sunglasses, and he had a pair at home that was Shady Rays, and he said he loved them.
Ooh, I will definitely start bothering Jeff Bowe about that. Jeff Bowe, Shady Rays. Jeff Bowe shows that it's never too late to turn over a cooler leaf. Check it out. All right, here's the deal. Exclusively for our listeners, including Jeff Bowe, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHNX for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Very, very good stuff at Shady Rays. If Jeff Bowe, who is a sunglasses connoisseur, Scheer, if it's good enough for Jeff Bowe, it is good enough for all of us. Check it out. All right, now, Bear Down Cat said 96. I thought this was going to a polar pop for the Circle K plug. Don't worry, we got Circle K coming up, my friends. Do not worry about that. All right, defensively, Scheer, many of my concerns have been minimized, mitigated. I don't care what the term is. The defensive backs are awesome. This is an awesome defensive backfield, and it's probably one of the best that we've ever covered here. Period, point blank. I say that.
Yeah, it's definitely up there because it's not just like, oh, Arizona has a really good corner. They have a good corner. They have good safeties. Genesis Smith is good. Stukes has been remarkable during practice. The other corner spot looks like it's going to be just fine. This secondary is really good.
The secondary is really good, and they're going to do a lot of different stuff with the safeties. That's where I think that you can really. We're going to get to the DBs here, or corners in a second. But Owen Goss, I think our good friend Justin Spears put this out there, and if it was somebody else, I do apologize, but I like Spears, so I'm going to quote Spears on this. Kind of a Martell Irby type role this year. I think you're going to see for Owen Goss. What say you, Jason Scheer?
Yeah, that's the guy. And that's I think Gunner said it. Akina said it. That's the dude where he's not going to start, but you're going to put him in a variety of roles. He gets you pumped up. There was a play today I love. He messed up on a coverage, and no coach told him anything. They're just like, whatever, get him next time. He went down and did push-ups to punish himself for messing up the coverage.
What's also fascinating about him is how, he is a very well put together kid for a safety. You're going to be able to do a lot of different things. Also, Genesis Smith, we need to talk about this guy again. Even if he doesn't start, I don't care what the term is. When Dwayne Akina says he has immense upside, Dwayne Akina has coached, even for an old white guy, Dwayne Akina has coached a lot of really, really good DBs. When Dwayne Akina says that they have immense upside, you know that he means it, and he's probably talking about next level potential there, Scheer.
Yeah, Genesis is good. We talk often about guys where you just see them for a few minutes and you realize they're good. Genesis has made a major jump from last season, and when his career is all said and done in college, he's going to go down as a very, very good defensive back.
By the way, that's another guy that rejected the overtures from smelly, rainy Seattle. They were on him, and he said, nope, I do not want to deal with that stench. This is true, Scheer.
That is true. One of many that turned down Jed.
This is very, very true. All right, now. Let's talk a little bit about let's talk a little bit about the rest of the secondary, because I actually am of the opinion now that this is the strength of the team. This is a very, very good question here by let's see here. Dennis Walsh, the great Dennis Walsh, who I believe Scheer recently unblocked. Would it have been better with Prysock, or would we upgrade? Here's all I'm going to say about this. I believe Arizona's going to have a better secondary this year than they did last year. What say you, Scheer?
Yes. Yeah, I think Prysock is good. I don't see why Groves Killebrew can't be right there with him.
Yes, I don't see why he can't either. And hey, no, Joseph, Dorman. Yes, we are going to talk about Dorman. I would very much like to apologize to Braden Dorman. We will get to him. There's going to be an apology segment at the end. Do not worry about this. All right, but now let's get back to the secondary. Freeney. Marquise Groves Killebrew. Freeney has actually not. Freeney has looked serviceable, and
not bad.
And that's all I needed. Honestly, that's all I needed, Scheer, was for him to be serviceable.
Yeah, I think Freeney's looked serviceable. I think Conley has actually had a nice camp. G7 has struggled a bit. I think he's probably lower in the rotation than he was in the spring. But you can make 4 corners, right?
Right.
I mean, Freeney's the backup. Takario and Killebrew, and then Freeney and Conley. I'm cool with that.
Yes, exactly. Now, the linebackers. Here's where I'm getting very, very, very excited. There's going to be options. And for all offseason, and I think you and I were both kind of like this as well. For all offseason, I was a little worried. I'm like, they didn't really address that. Here's what I know for a fact. They're going to be putting a lot of safeties in there somewhere. But at the other time, you also have some viable options at linebacker. I am no longer concerned about the linebacker spot, Scheer. What say you?
I'm still a little concerned.
Don't be concerned, dude. Come on.
I'm not like, I don't think it's bad right now, but it's in an ideal world, one guy wins that job and runs away with it, right? That hasn't happened. I think Tay Brown and Kamu have been pretty good, not spectacular. But like you mentioned, I think there's ways to make up for it. Like, I think we're going to see players where Dalton Johnson and Genesis Smith or Owen Goss are basically linebackers, similar to what we saw with Martell Irby. Martell Irby's not a linebacker, but they played enough defensive backs where he pretty much lined up as a linebacker. I think we're going to see a lot of that this year.
All right, Big 12 Bobby says, is PHNX hosting any get-togethers for the games? We will definitely have that happen. We will very much like to see our second favorite ASU coach behind Kenny Dillingham, which we were going to talk about. All right, defensive line. But first, I do have to issue something, and this is for Joseph. This is for everybody out there. Braden Dorman so far has looked pretty solid in camp. Here's where I'm at with Dorman. First of all, there's no my bad Dorman movement yet. That's like the people that kept asking me, are you going to apologize to Kylan Boswell? No, but Dorman has looked passable. And that's all I really needed from him. I just needed him to look passable, Scheer. And if he looks passable, then I think that you win a couple games with him. Can he get in some series? Yes. And what say you, my friend? What say you?
Yeah, the last 2 practices, he's opened up the competition a little bit. I would probably rate it Noah, Dorman, Garcia, and then DeMonte. DeMonte hasn't been very good so far in camp. Cole Tenenbaum, not awful. Had a nice throw today.
Oh, who did he have a nice throw to? Who did he have a nice throw to?
Great throw to AJ Jones today. But I think Dorman is that backup quarterback right now. Look, you're not you want a serviceable quarterback, right? Like it's not like Noah last year is a common thing. You want a guy that can run the offense should your starting quarterback go down. I don't see why Dorman wouldn't be able to do that.
All right, Steve Hernandez, the great official Steve Hernandez. Who you taking to 1-on-1 T-Mac versus Chris McAllister? Chris McAllister is the best player I've ever seen at the University of Arizona. T-Mac, no matter what Justin Spears says, is the best wide receiver. That would be a very, very good matchup. I don't know.
Call it even.
That I will call it even. People got to remember here. Chris McAllister is a top 10 pick. So it is what it is. All right. Now, the defensive line. I love the front four. I love the front four. The starting four to me is fantastic. I have no qualms whatsoever. You made a rare good point, though, Scheer, where you did say that how do I put this? I did not expect Bear Anderson and Darton to look kind of as small as they are. Not that they're not good, but there is a little bit of a there's a I don't want to say this either because this is a bad there's a little bit more of a Rich Rod type vibe, even though they're good. So I don't want to put that out there.
So Akina said that it's by design and because they want to get to the quarterback. Last year, they kind of said, okay, we're going to add a bunch of 300-pounders and hold our ground. This year, and when Akita's decision, they want to go get the quarterback, but they're still small. Like Darton is built pretty good. Bear needs to put on weight. They're good players. Like you can play them and be fine. It's a different style of play than I think people are used to. And what's eye-catching is it's a considerably different style of play than the starters. Like Chuba and Isaiah Johnson are monsters. And is
Chuba the biggest guy you've ever seen here?
One of them. Yeah. He's been out the last few practices, not at practice. I don't want to speculate. But a lot of times that's concussion stuff when you're not allowed at practice.
Hey, Scheer, guess who just entered the chat? One of our all-time favorites.
Mike. Wow. Honored.
Love Mike Baldwin. Yes. By the way, I have so much back the A stuff that the great Mike Baldwin gave me. By the way, Mike Baldwin, one of the best Pop Warner coaches are going in all of Southern Arizona. We are very, very impressed by Mike Baldwin. We like Mike Baldwin a great deal. Plus, Mike Baldwin has to put up with Mike Lowry. If you got to put up with Mike Lowry, then we give you a lot of credit for that. Mike Baldwin and Mike Lowry, both really, really good peeps. Okay. Now, GF says, is T-Mac going to play week 1? I would be stunned if he didn't.
Yeah, I think he is. I really think that he's going to take this week off. Honestly, he probably takes next week off, and then they practice for the game, and he's good.
Yeah, I think that's exactly because right now, by the way, he looks super, super like he goes out there when he's training and he's got sweatpants and like sweatshirts on, and it's like 125 degrees out there. T-Mac cut from a different cloth.
Just more manly than we'll ever be, Mike.
Yeah, no, he is. He's very good. All right, now at the defensive ends, that has still been one of my concerns. Listen, Dwayne Akina, the aggressive Dwayne Akina, has said many times that it's his job to generate a pass rush. I get all of that. I wish I had a little bit more faith so far in some of the other DNs. What say you, Scheer?
Yeah, Trey Smith looked good today. I like Trey Smith.
Talking backup defensive ends.
I don't know. They're still figuring that out. Chase Kennedy is way too small, in my opinion. Shockingly small. He's listed at like 215, and I think it's accurate. Lance Kennelly has actually been pretty good. I like Lance Kennelly. He's been pretty good. But yeah, those backup ends are a little iffy. I feel fine about the backup interior though. Stanley Taufu from USC has looked great. Mm-hmm. And then you got Thayer and Darton. I think they'll be fine. The backup ends kind of. Yeah.
All right. We need to talk Traden Stukes here for a second. Traden Stukes. They've had him on the outside. They've had him on the inside. Listen, Dwayne Akina clearly believes that Traden Stukes is going to be an NFL player. And he 100%. And honestly, I have no insight on this, no insight whatsoever. But I think if you were to ask him in his heart of hearts who his favorite player on the team was, he would probably say Traden Stukes. He loves this guy. Traden Stukes is not coming off the field in whatever capacity.
Find you someone that talks about you like Dwayne Akina talks about Traden Stukes. I mean, he loves him. He puts him up. He'll be like, yeah, I've coached Michael Huff and this guy and that, but Traden Stukes is as good as any of them. And it's like, man, like he loves Stukes. Stukes is a great kid. I mean, everyone that's ever coached him loves him, but Dwayne Akina just adores the guy.
Do you think he talks about Traden Stukes the way Jacob Franklin talks about me when I'm not around?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I would certainly assume so. Now, the other thing that we got to talk about here, the elephant in the room, Circle K. Anybody notice that I'm looking a little sexier than normal? Well, you know what? It's probably not what you're looking at. It's probably the headgear. And big kudos to Jason Scheer. And Scheer, who did you get the Inner Circle hat from again?
Our boy Will Green, my guy.
All right, We very much appreciate you, Will, because this thing is fantastic. I wore this to practice today. I will wear this everywhere. This will be my calling card, and I will switch back and forth between this and the Wildcat hat. Check it out. Circle K, though, all kinds of good stuff at Circle K. Join the inner circle for free by downloading the Circle K app. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. Scheer, you got to admit, this Circle K hat looks amazing.
You look good. I like how your hair's sticking out of it a little bit. You look cute.
It looks good. It makes me look much better than I should, but Circle K makes you also feel much better than you should. So again, check it out. Circle K, all kinds of really good stuff. And the other one, the Desert Financial Credit Union. Now, you might say to yourself, Mike Luke, that guy doesn't look like he's got any money. Guess what? If I went to the Desert Financial Credit Union, I would get there and I would get extra $200, my friend. The Desert Financial Credit Union. When you open a free checking account online, get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200 today. Now, we were talking about this with Erica L. Day. We assume that Erica L. Day does all of her work at Desert Financial Credit Union, just like the great Ben One White.
I mean, she's smart, so I assume she does.
Yes, exactly. Everybody out there, Irish Mike, you strike me as being very smart. Get with the Desert Financial Credit Union. Again, this is for the people, by the people. Join a credit union that is committed to giving back to the community and sharing success with its members. Look for the Desert Financial. To Desert Financial for checking and savings account, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and many more. Again, check it out. desertfinancial.com/200. Get that $200 in there. It is something very, very nice. I would imagine that many, many people have done it. Check it out. Desert Financial Credit Union. Okay. All right. It's time for Justin Flowe questions. Justin Flowe.
Oh, I got you. You do it.
You do it.
Justin Flowe. We just talked about how Chase Kennedy is too small to play defensive end right now. Meanwhile, he's the same size as Justin Flowe.
Right.
Like Justin Flowe is 220 pounds, guys. He's not a defensive end.
Yes, exactly. I would love to be wrong on that, but I do not see that. I do not see that one happening. But I will say this year, I think he's going to be a special demons ace.
Special demons ace?
Yeah. I mean, a special teams demon or a special teams
Special demon ace. Yeah, we can go with that. He'll play more than he has ever before at Arizona. That's my prediction.
All right. So wouldn't that be amazing if he did make the NFL and it was as a special teams guy? That'd be fantastic.
Danny Gonzalez said he's going to be on all 4 special teams units.
You don't put anybody on there if you don't. Now, Kobe Thiel, the great Kobe Thiel legend. Where's Scheer's hat? Put a Circle K hat on now, Scheer. Come on.
I don't know where it is. Gotta find it.
All right. Well, either way, we will we look very much. All right. Now, I want to make fun of ASU here for a minute. Our guy Jeff Sims looks like he is very much in the running to be the starting quarterback for ASU. Just so you know, I watched every Jeff Sims game last year. Jeff Sims, 1 touchdown, 1 passing touchdown, 12 turnovers. That is what you get with Jeff Sims. Does Kenny Dillingham turn him into Michael Vick?
Here's the thing, and Jeff Sims, I could see you using him in packages. I think that makes sense because of his mobility. I don't want him as my starting quarterback. He had, someone just posted this in response to Chris.
He turned the ball over. He had 28 possessions last year, and he turned the ball over on 12 of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the stat because someone just. All right, turnover had 39% of the time. 5 fumbles, 6 picks.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's not is that scheme? It's are we treating Matt Rule like an idiot?
Well, and that's the other thing. It's not like Matt Rule has this really bad track record in history of stuff where it doesn't look like he can play. I mean,
if you want to make Jeff Sims like a red zone package guy, I think you can make that work.
But the problem with him is he fumbles the ball nonstop.
Hey, I'm all for it, Mike. I think they should start Jeff Sims.
Now. Obviously, Chris Cartman believes that I am maybe being a little bit too hard here, judging by the quote tweet. Jason Scheer, he is a fellow worker. Whose side do you side on? The person you work with or your friend?
Chris, I think that Jeff Sims should absolutely start for ASU.
listen, I totally agree with it. I don't know what else to say. I would agree with that. That's why I sent the heart. We're all about that. The heart. It's almost like the Gila River Casino with like the little wave going on. All right. Now, one other thing that we've been on the forefront about, and we're going to get back to U of A football here for a second, but Deion Sanders, the latest stuff coming out of Athlon. What makes what do you think of this, Scheer?
I hate to take the side of Dion. I don't believe a lot in that story. That for no one to pick that up except for a random dude from Athlon, like that stuff is crazy in that article.
Well, you would think that they would have a lawsuit then, would you not?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's just a weird article.
All right, but would it surprise you though if some
No,
of that
no, not at all.
Yes, exactly. All right. So either way, we will watch this as this all unfolds, but we have been on the forefront of all of this. Now, let's see here. Many people asking about Erica Day. Is she on ESPN? I don't know. I think she might be. It wouldn't surprise me if she is.
Erica barely talks to us anymore now that she went big time with the WNBA.
Yeah, too. All right. That is fair. She's basically looks looks the other way. That's fine. Okay, now Arizona football, back to this team. Scheer, this team's good. I'm just going to keep saying it. This team is good. We should have high expectations for this team, period, point blank. They look the part. We've watched a lot of bad football here, a lot of bad football. We know what bad football looks like. This should not be bad football.
Yeah, we know exactly. I mean, again, I always laugh at the Kevin Sumlin days when I would be like, I don't want to go. Like, I'm just not going. It's like, I know I can tell you exactly. This team's good. How good remains to be seen, but this is a very solid football team.
Yeah, it's a very solid football team without a lot. Here's the thing. I mean, there are question marks, but there's also not a discernible weakness. How about that? Something where you're just like, oh, God, like, there's none of the.
Wait, what are you again? What is it? Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Yes. There's nothing where you're like, oh, gosh, man, this is terrible. So also Dennis Walsh, great Dennis Walsh with an interesting point. Is Brennan a better X's and O's than Smelly Stinky?
It's different because Jed called the whole offense. Brent Brennan is a CEO type, like Babers, and it's Akina's defense, and Brennan is very involved with the wide receivers because that's what he knows. But the quarterbacks, like it's Babers and Lyle Moval, like he's more of a CEO. Jed was like anything on offense. I'm coaching the quarterbacks. I'm calling all the plays and stuff like that.
Yes. Now with people got to remember this, and we will continue to bring this up with when it comes to last year's team. That team was going to be a 5 or 6 win team without Noah Fafita. Period. Point blank. It just was. So Noah Fafita was the offensive coordinator. We give now. Bob Wade says, the great Bob Wade. Do we have Noah back for next year, or is he's draft eligible? But I would certainly imagine Noah will.
He's not leaving early.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, Noah could be a multi-millionaire if he's not already by the time he leaves here just off of NIL, Scheer.
Yeah. I mean, he's fine. I just look, I love Noah, but it's not like there's a huge demand for 5'7" quarterbacks with eligibility remaining.
His dad had a very nice, very cool tweet earlier today talking about loyalty and everything that goes into it on there. Okay. Oh, one last thing. We've got to talk a little bit of Arizona basketball here because there is something that we do need to know about. Akina Olozi. He has been offered by Tommy Lloyd and the University of Arizona. This was the most no-brainer of no-brainer offers. Lloyd obviously offered him 2026 kid out of Dream City, can do everything, explosive, can get to the rack, looks like an NBA player. Scheer, I'm glad that Arizona offered him because there's a lot to like about his game.
Easy offer. I mean, to be fair to Tommy Lloyd, he didn't play well in front of Tommy once or twice. And then in July, he was awesome. And Tommy Lloyd said no brainer once he played well. You got to play well in front of Tommy to get offered. Now that he's been offered, I expect TJ Benson to be all over him, Tommy to be all over him, and he'll be a top priority.
Yeah, and so you're looking at your point guard. Questions in this class or going forward. Braden Burries, obviously, in 2025. Akina Olozi in 2026. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Scheer. All right, now, does Arizona get one of these players?
I don't know. It's early, Mike. Sure. Why not?
Come on, dude. Nobody's
Why
listening.
not? Why not? Why not?
I'm going to back the A. I'm going to definitely say
Guess
that.
What? I think Arizona's more in it for Mikel Brown than people think, too. I'm going to throw that out there.
All right. Well, either way, so you have no concerns then about how Arizona is going to figure this one out, correct?
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I'm good.
Right.
I trust the Tommy.
But we do like Akina Lozzi a great deal, though.
Yeah, he's a beast. Very good.
He's a beast. He's a top 10 player. This will be a national recruit. This will be a national recruitment. But so that will be an interesting one to see how that one does play out. No, the Arizona spot is not open anymore. TJ Benson got the job. He very much deserved it, by the way. All right. Now, before we sign off, Scheer, where can they find you doing your work?
WildcatAuthority.com. We got a 60% off sale. It ends today. Please take advantage of that so we can be the top school in the Big 12 and be the Jeff Sims of 24/7. And then the Wildcat Scoop podcast with Shelby.
All right. I am your, Kobe Thiel wants to know. So no Dame Sar?
TBD.
TBD. Okay. TBD.
There's still stuff that has to be worked through. I know people hate that answer, but that really is the legit answer.
Okay. Now, I have no better time to become PHNX diehard. Sign up. You get all kinds of cool stuff. You get merch. You get access to Kobe Thiel. You get all kinds of Erica Elday, all kinds of good stuff, events, tickets, everything. Check it out. You will thank me later. But for the great Jason Scheer, I am merely Mike Luke. Scheer will be back with us on Wednesday. What is this, by the way?
You ready?
Yeah.
This is an exclusive. It's not colored in yet, but there's your exclusive.
Oh, no,
there it is.
Very nice.
You are the first person to see this live.
Love it, love it, love it. Oh, Scheer might be breaking some more Big 12 stuff. Who knows? Coming forward with that little 12 on there. But for the great Jason Scheer and everybody out there, you guys are all fantastic. Very much appreciate all of you. For Jason Scheer, I am merely Mike Luke, the great Jacob Franklin behind the scenes. You have been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.